Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to the UAA Campus Bookstore. Can you hear okay? Can everyone hear? Pretty good. Excellent. Um, I'm looking forward to this event with the faculty of the Language Department called Language for Life, Mind, and Connection, a rapid-fire presentation. I can say personally that language has not come easy for me learning languages, but they've had a great effect on my life, mind, and connections with other people. So I'm just really enthused about having this event and seeing all you people here who agree with me how important languages are. This event is being recorded as a podcast, which I will have, and I can send it to you. I'm Rachel here at the bookstore, or Natasha will have a copy that she could send to you also. We have some light refreshments. And to mention about future events, all bookstore events offer free parking behind Rasmussen Hall and the Wells Fargo Sports Center Monday through Thursday when we have events. On Fridays, parking is free at UAA. So if you are interested in coming to future events, you can keep that in mind. Right now, I'd like to welcome Dr. Natasha Masanovic, who is the chair of the language department here at UAA. And if you have any questions about this event, I'm sure there'll be time for a Q&A after the speakers have their 2 minutes. Okay, again, thank you for coming, and welcome Natasha Masanovic.
Thanks, Rachel. We are so delighted that you could make it. Thank you all for coming, all our students, our colleagues, our community members. I would like to acknowledge you all by name, but we are so limited regarding time. But there's one person I would especially like to acknowledge. We have the Honorary Consul for Spain here, Robert Gonzalez. Thank you for being here and supporting our event. And once again, thank you. I would like to let you know why we are doing this event. Of course, it's obvious we want everybody to learn languages, right? However, last summer, on June the 7th, the Department of Languages received the Governor's Award, the North Star Governor's Award for International Excellence, in providing mentorship support for our languages students. And I went to a wonderful reception to accept the award on behalf of our entire faculty and, of course, students. And I had a great time, and now we have, of course, the award, in the department. But what I realized during that reception was, by the questions that were asked to me, that people don't know about languages, that they don't know what languages can do for you, what our students do after learning languages, and why they decide to learn more. And so I think this is just to inspire people and to continue to instill this love for languages. And that's why I would like to thank you. Now, there are some technical things I need to talk about. This is for the presenters. Now I'm going to have this stopwatch, and I will be monitoring the time. So the presenters have only 2 minutes, and then when 30 seconds are left, you'll see this. And when I show you this, you need to stop. I know you would like to say more, but there's going to be a Q&A at the end. And everybody is welcome, not only the presenters, but anybody who is here today to voice their thoughts. And I think we should start. One more thing, my colleague, Dr. Patricia Fagan, to my left, will be calling the names, just so we can keep the order. And once you hear your name, please rush and start your presentation. 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Our first student is Claudia Okay, let's see. Oh God, this is making me nervous. It's time. Okay, so I'm Claudia Hidrogo, as she said, and I am studying Japanese here at UAA. Can you hear me all right? Okay. No? Okay. Is this on? Okay, oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, so is this on my time? Okay. Okay, so my name's Claudia Hidrogo, and I study Japanese here at UAA, and I have always had an intense interest in languages. I grew up in San Francisco. In the Mission District it was an area of mixed of immigrants. So I grew up on the border between Chinese and Mexican immigrants. So from my youth, I've had kind of exposure to different languages. And from living in that area, I came to experience all these different cultures and whatnot. And the thing that probably drove me to start to study languages was just like seeing the characters themselves. And from then I just decided to, just pursue language. I also just came back from a study abroad in Japan. I went to Sapporo, which is in the most northern island of Japan, Hokkaido. So I think that study abroad has had the biggest impact out of every event in my life, because when you're abroad, that you have to have an inner strength, because people don't share the same culture as you, and you have to more rely on yourself because people judge you based on different topics and whatnot. And because of that, I think I became like a stronger person. I understand truly like who I am, and it definitely opened my horizons. I wouldn't have met so many different people if I hadn't gone abroad. I met people from Europe, from Asia, from Southeast Asia. I even met people from Africa, Eastern Europe, and yeah. So I'm really happy that I was able to have this experience, and I love Japan, and I'm glad that I was able to learn more about the country, the language that I study. And yes, thank you very much. Okay.
Would you like to hold this, or would you like to? Okay.
So hello, I'm Eric Peterson. I'm a student of Japanese. I'll just briefly go over everything I've done with Japanese and then my study abroad experience. I started studying Japanese actually in high school. And for 4 years I took it in high school and always loved Japanese, but I never took it too seriously. I was kind of more of a playing video games type of Japanese student. But then I decided to not go to college for a year, and I instead went to Japan, shaved my head, and went on a Buddhist pilgrimage for 2 months. So I wandered the mountains of Japan for a while. And then I came back, and after that experience, I kind of knew Japanese was exactly what I wanted to do. So I've been studying Japanese for 3 years here at UAA, and I went on the same study abroad program as Claudia did in Sapporo in northern Japan. And it was definitely like the greatest year of college that I've ever had. It was amazing. I had so much fun. I have so many friends from around the world now. I have so many friends from Japan. It definitely broadened my horizons, and I'm really, really kind of desperate already to go back to Japan. And learning Japanese has offered so many opportunities to my future. Currently, right now, I'm filling out an application to go and teach in Japan, to either teach English or just do international kind of consultation. And there's also definitely many opportunities. If you guys might have heard, Tokyo got the Olympics. So there's definitely many, many jobs that come with, being an Olympic host. So yeah, that's kind of my experiences studying Japanese. It's been a whirlwind of different things, but the always constant in my life, other than all of the traveling and all that kind of stuff, has always been my love of Japan and my love of the Japanese people, who are the nicest people in the world. And I always feel like I'm returning home when I go there. So I highly recommend you all study Japanese here at UA. We have great teachers, and go to Japan. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Williams. I am a Japanese major here at UAA. I've been studying Japanese for 4 years at UAA, but 2 previous years in high school. I pretty much loved it since I started studying it. I started studying for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is as soon as I started studying it, I knew I wanted to use it for a career. Now, there's tons of languages that you can study, and no matter which one you do, I believe that it's important to study at least one. It's important to have that skill, I think. And not just to learn the language, but to become fluent. And as many of the language students here will tell you, you can't just become fluent by doing your homework and going to class. You have to be immersed in the language. You have to use it daily, use it practically. One of the ways that we've done that in class before with Harada Sensei last year in Japanese 302 is we actually did a joint project with University of Memphis students where we used all kinds of electronic devices, Skype, Google Docs, wiki pages, things like that, to do a joint project which really helped us improve our daily usage and forced us kind of outside of our comfort zone in learning the language. And this is a great opportunity, I think, because for me personally, I'm in the Army Guard, which means I can't just pick up and leave and go to Japan like I would really, really, really like to for a year or however long that I would normally need to become really fluent in the language. So experiences like that and projects like that are really important in our language studies to help us try to get as fluent as possible without ever leaving Alaska or whatever state we're in. I plan on using languages for my career because I plan on going CIA or FBI. But no matter what your career field is, I believe it's definitely important for you to learn a language because so many of the things that we do nowadays have implications on an international level. So definitely, if you're not already studying a language, please do. And if you already are, good for you. Thanks.
Alright. Hi, I'm Rosalie. I'm a Japanese and International Studies major in my 3rd year here at UAA. So I'm sure everyone heard of the school game? Can everyone hear me? Sorry. Is it on? Okay. Sorry. Okay. So has everyone heard of something called the school game before? Nope? Okay, so you probably will know what this is once you hear it. It's just basically like, in high school when you just study for a course and you don't actually learn the material for it, but you just study for a test, memorize the stuff, and you get an A and call it good and then forget everything the next day. And so if there's one thing that I love about language learning is that you can't play the school game with it. Because when you're holding a conversation, you have to know everything and not just have a textbook knowledge of it. And I think being able to apply language in just the smallest ways like that is one of the most influential things in my life. Because most subjects, you have to study by rote memorization until you're able to get a job in that field and actually apply it. But with language, you could practice it every day. And what other subject can you practice just by talking? None. That's why language is so great. Anyway, this summer I did a program in Japan with participants from 11 different countries. And in those 3 weeks, I learned that language learning not only allows you to communicate with a multitude of people, but also broadens your perspectives about various cultures and teaches you how to be a better person. And being united by a common interest in languages really opens your mind to cultural differences and just challenges you to look past the boundaries of your own culture and see things in a different view than you might hold. So we have a fantastic Japanese department here at UAA, and I just want to say thank you to Ama Sensei and Harada Sensei, who I don't know if she's here, but I just want to say thank you for encouraging and challenging me to expand my knowledge of the Japanese language as well as the culture of this unique country. And I believe that through studying language, I've developed better study skills and learned how to be a better person. And just being able to communicate in a tongue other than English is one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had. Thank you.
Sure, I'll hold it, yeah. Hi there, my name is Thomas Zimmerman. I'm a Japanese major here at UAA, and I've been studying for 2 years now. And this year I was lucky enough to be president of the Japanese Culture Club. Learning Japanese has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's why I wanted to be immersed in the culture as much as possible here in Alaska. And so I was really honored to get to have the position of being the president. We've about 35 active members, and we're really doing a lot of cool stuff here around campus. being able to communicate in another language, even in the simplest of ways, is such a humbling and gratifying experience in which the language itself inspires you to keep pushing forward and studying. What drew me initially to study Japanese is really the aesthetics of the culture. It's really beautiful, it's simple, and I can apply that to my own work as a graphic designer. And and one day I really hope to travel to Japan and give back to the culture what they've given to me. I really wanted to thank the Japanese program here at UAA, Alex Salov Sensei, Harada Sensei, Ama Sensei, and the whole department. They've really pushed me. I started a little bit late in the game, and there's been tough times, but it's been a lot of fun. So that's all. Thank you.
Hi, you guys cold right now? It's freezing. So if I shake, don't. Okay, so honestly, I had no intention to actually learn Chinese. I always want to do a business major or either filmmaking or no, I always change my mind like every other day. But from that experience of from exercising of my decision, I learned that from any major you choose, any language would be beneficial. And I was leaning towards mostly Chinese before, just 'cause. and I feel that Chinese is actually underappreciated in Alaska right now, just 'cause in most high school they don't offer any Chinese courses, and in UAA it's just pretty new, so we lack tutors still, but it's growing since we do have the Confucius Institute. And one good reason why Chinese is a good language to learn is because if you learn to master Chinese, you basically can speak to 1/6 of the world, because it's the most spoken language right now. And and also because when I was in high school, I took multiple languages. I took Spanish and I took Japanese. Oh, I see. I took Spanish and I took Japanese, and I kind of just think that people should take Chinese more, just because it has a lot more benefits, really. Like things like Japanese and Spanish, I see them mostly like cultural interests, but Chinese, if you really want. Oh, thank you. I ran out of time.
Hello, I'm Darian Heald, and I'm a French, I studied French here at UAA. I'm actually a chemistry major, but I've been studying French this is my 8th year. I started in middle school in 7th grade. In all honesty, I didn't actually have a lot of pressure to take a language. It was really my own want to take it. My parents both took maybe 2 years of Spanish in high school. But I remember when I was growing up in early elementary, every week I would watch a show, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, called Madeline. And when I had seen that show, I got hooked, and I wanted to take French as soon as I possibly could. So when I started middle school, I took the class, and I didn't realize when I took it how difficult a language actually would be to learn. I thought that every word in English just had one equivalent in the other language. And I was really wrong for those first few years taking French. But as I kept going, I realized that I was learning more about English as I was learning more about the other language, and it actually reflected in my English grades as I continued on with my French, and it got more and more advanced, which actually I didn't realize, but it was quite cool. Otherwise, though, it also helped me with getting more friends. When I took a language, it's a really close unit class. When you take a language class, it's different than like math. You socialize all the time in that class. So it was really like an extra like lunch period for me. I remember going through my years in middle and high school, and I took a French class every year, and it was always my favorite class every year. So that was always something to look forward to. And then when I went abroad, it was even better because I finally got to use the language that I had been practicing, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. So I would really recommend that somebody take a language here, because if you're not taking a language, you'll appreciate you'll appreciate other cultures, and you'll actually get to understand your own language too, because you really don't, have a good perspective of what you have until you see what somebody else has, and you can make that contrast. So that's my point of view on French, and if you're not taking a language, then I would really encourage that you do. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Samuel Nostein. I'm a student of German at UAA. So I'm just going to read this off real quick because I'm going to go all over the place if I don't. I normally don't speak, so my heart's like pounding at like 1,000 miles an hour right now, so just bear with me, please. Again, my name is Samuel Nostein. I'm 29 years old. I'm a full-time student, and it's my first year in college here at the UAA. I'm a recovering alcoholic of 2 years. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. My families are from both Amonic, Alaska, which is in Delta, Yukon, and Wales, which is north of Nome. My ethnicity background is Yupik and Nupiaq, German and Jew. I chose to study languages because my grandmother, Sophie Nostein, is from Wales, Alaska, and she's a very powerful and strong leader among our elders who managed to go through all sorts of our life trials. She's a survivor of breast cancer, and she has her sobriety. And she still acts like she's young when she's playing with her iPhone, playing games. And one day I was kind of curious of how I got the name Nostein. I asked Grandma, how did I get the name? And she told me, from your grandpa, Harris Nostein. I later learned that he was German Jew. And they met in Springfield, Ohio by his two sisters. He passed away before I could remember him. But he was about 6'2" and very handsome. And I remember photos of him, and he had wavy, long black hair and pale skin. This was a spark of my interest. I had deep roots of German background. I led to my decision that I should do of what I should do. Either seek education in my native roots or seek education in my German roots, which seems to be either a little unclear among my family. So I felt brave and went against my influence and kept getting from my native heritage and decided to learn German. This way I can somehow, even if it was just a hit or miss, that I would get to know my real grandpa, Harris Nostein. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aaron Goff. I'm from Louisiana, and we have a slight mixture of cultures and languages. None of them I really like, so I chose Russian. Russian is definitely something I've been intrigued by. In fact, I really one of my favorite movies, Hunt for Red October, when they're speaking Russian and they change to English, and I was like, no, go back, But no, I really enjoy. Growing up, we had mostly Cajun French around us, so a lot of different learning to speak with it mixed together, and that was just watch any show Louisiana based, and you'll get the picture. We. Learning how to do that. I always wanted to speak another language, but they never offered anything. I grew up in a high school about the size of this room, and having the chance 13 years later out of high school to take a language is definitely, I can see the benefits of it now this long out of high school. There's so much need to learn a language other than English because English isn't the only language that's spoken in America, and that's growing massively. Where there's Spanish, and wherever you go, different languages are needed, and so I definitely recommend and I recommend taking languages, and definitely there is a need for language study, and take Russian. It's great. Thank you.
I'll just hold it. Hi. My name is Eric. I graduated in May 2012, and I spent the last year in Spain, in northern Spain, Santander, on a Fulbright. And that was a lot of fun. But I would like to talk to you a little bit about what we're talking about. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, languages. We always emphasize how languages open doors, right? And that can't be emphasized enough, I think. And I think I kind of want to say something about what Dr. Masanovich said at the very beginning, and how people really don't understand, outside of this room, of course, people don't understand what learning languages really entails. And I think what's important is that the learning of the language is not the end in itself. I think it's important that everybody finds a little niche in their language, because when you learn a language, more often than not, when you're studying a language, we're not just learning how to speak the language. We're studying linguistics, we're studying literature, we're studying film, we're studying translation, skills that can be applied to a multitude of fields. And I think that's really important to bring up. I won't lie, I wanted to learn Spanish because I thought people that spoke another language and that lived in another country were cool. And I wanted to be cool, so that's why I learned Spanish, and that's why I studied abroad in Argentina. And anyway, yeah, it's a great experience studying abroad. I would strongly recommend it. But I've always been interested in literature. So as a Spanish major, I was able to take a multitude of literature classes here at the university from Dr. Fagan. I took medieval Spanish literature, the Latin American short story. I took a couple translation classes, but I really found my niche in literature. And now I'm looking at some graduate school opportunities in medieval Spanish literature. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that everybody should find their little place in languages and really try to explore that. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll read my notes here so I don't miss anything. My perspective is totally different. I'm a student in Chinese 101 currently, but I'm also chair of the economics department. And the College of Business, where the economics department is located, currently has an initiative called International Partnerships, which is faculty initiated and faculty driven. It's from below. This is not one of those top-down ideas. And the idea is to promote and set up relationships with targeted institutions abroad, specific institutional relationships. And our first target country is China, with the help of the Confucius Institute, Chinese language teachers, and advice from Leslie Tuvenen in the International Studies unit, is helped us to begin developing partnerships with 4 institutions, one in Changchun, one in Xi'an, one in Beijing, and one in Shanghai. And in fact, one of our faculty, Kyle Hampton, who teaches principles of economics, just came back after 2 weeks in China. His wife, Carolyn Wilson, also went along with him. She actually has a PhD in science and teaches in the WAMI program as a faculty member in biology. And Kyle gave lectures in economics, experimental economics, in two institutions. And his wife gave free lectures in the medical universities in Xi'an and Changchun also. A second faculty from the college in accounting, professor of accounting, is going to the Beijing and Shanghai partners in spring. And language and culture familiarity and expertise is fundamental for this to work, both in terms of being able to function abroad, but also in terms of the more subtler things to do with culture, understanding, and so forth. So as I said, I'm doing the Chinese 101 along with my son, who's an engineering student here at UAA. He's doing it. It was his idea initially, actually. And my oldest daughter did the 101 and 102. And she's an engineering student. She's currently doing a semester abroad in Asia. In future, our targets beyond China include Europe and South America. So the grand connection here is that we need to partner with the language expertise and cultural expertise in order to be able to achieve our sort of strategic long-run goal. Thank you.
Hey folks, I'm Daniel Brunholzel. I'm currently taking French 102, which I know is impressive. So I guess at this point in the game, I can't really tell you how it helps me to know French, aside from maybe understanding the lyrics of a dirty 70s pop song or maybe a really subtle movie reference of some kind. But I'm a chemistry major here at UAA. I do it as a pre-med path, and I'm a senior. I should be graduating this May. So I guess the reason I got into French was so that I could kind of get the GER requirement. But there's a secondary gain, too, and that is that I worked in an emergency department for a while, and a lot of the physicians there would speak Spanish to their patients, you know, for the few that had the benefit of knowing the language. And so I guess for myself, I would like to perhaps maybe be able to use some of the French that I'm taking the time to learn to help patients in the future should I happen to see a French-speaking person. Or it offers an opportunity for me to maybe volunteer my time in some kind of humanitarian effort, French Guiana or other, well, there's a handful of French-speaking African countries, so, or partially at least. So, yeah. I don't plan on minoring because I'll be out of here too soon and hopefully headed off to medical school, but it's an interest I will continue to have. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Jordan. And as was said before, I'm a student of German, and I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. So my early stages of learning German was with a high school friend. She taught me little phrases, and her mother and I and her would all speak German together, although mine was very, very simple. And the town that I came from, I hail from Ketchikan, Alaska. We only had French and Spanish as languages offered. So my friend Christina and a teacher, her name was Frau Landfer, she started a German club. It didn't last very long, but at least it gave people an opportunity to start speaking German before going on to a university or having a different opportunity to learn German. And for me personally, the teachers that have taught language have helped me to keep going on with it. I first started with Elizabeth Fisher, and then now I'm taking courses from Natasha Masanovic. And I'm also, I totally forgot to say this, I'm double majoring in history and German. And
so it's very helpful for me learning German because the realm of history that I'm learning, well, I've already finished my thesis, so learned was German history. That's what I focus on. And I'm also, I just recently joined the Anchorage German Club. I'm part of the UAA German Culture Club as the vice president. And I want to leave you with one thing. I did find a quote that I thought was very valid to this sort of discussion. And it's from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and it goes like this. Wer fremde Sprachen nicht kennt, weiß nichts von seiner eigenen. Which loosely translates as, when we don't know other languages, we can't learn our own. Thank you.
So I'm obviously not a traditional undergraduate student. Like Paul, I'm a faculty member here. I'm a professor in the WAMI School of Medical Education. My only prior experience with foreign languages was over 40 years ago when I was a high school student back in the Chicago area. And I took a few years of Spanish and got just a smattering of understanding. In the years since, you know, when I've traveled to Latin America or Mexico, I've tried to speak Spanish, and I've taught myself, well, you know, you'll pick it up when you travel. And of course, I ended up just getting into conversations where I couldn't even respond to the person I was talking to. And it was really after a trip I made to Spain last year, well, I really convinced myself that the only way I'm going to learn Spanish at a conversational level is to take a class. And fortunately, as a faculty member, I can do that without paying tuition here, so that's great, great deal. So I started with Spanish 102 with Rebecca Maceda, and I'm now in Spanish 201 with Patricia Fagan. And I'm feeling so lucky to have such great instructors here. So my initial motivation to learn Spanish was, as I said, to make it easier for me to travel parts of the world where they speak Spanish. But now that I've started studying, it's opened up my eyes to how much learning Spanish enriches one's life in other ways. I've learned, I thought I understood English. I thought I knew the English language pretty well before, but now thinking about it in comparison to Spanish, I'm learning so much about the inconsistencies in English. And also, you know, as a scientist, it's easy for me to not find time to learn anything about the humanities. But I found that in the last semester in Spanish, I've read more poetry than I had in English in the past, I don't know how many years. So I've been feeling like I'm on the beginning of a great new adventure. I'm sure someday learning Spanish and speaking Spanish will become routine to me, but I'm looking forward to pursuing the adventure for quite some time. Thank you.
Sorry if I sound a little bit rough. I'm getting over a cold. It's a great day to be alive, huh? Huh? This is the 11th anniversary of a terrible car accident I got into that nearly claimed my life, so I'm happy to be in front of you guys today. Yay, for living! I could walk up here. Hallelujah. Okay, so I'm going to read straight off my paper. Hope you guys don't mind. Hello, my name is Marisa Stewart, and I'm a senior civil engineering student, which is why I'm so distracted by what's going on over there right now. I'm trying to pay attention. I am currently in Chinese 102, and I love it. I decided to take Chinese because their culture seems so beautiful and different to me. Plus, I've heard it's one of the most difficult languages to learn, but I'm sure everyone who's taking a different language than Chinese would probably disagree with me on that one right now. And I like the challenge, so here at UAA, the professors do much more than teach you Chinese vocabulary. They teach you about the culture, where the roots of the words come from, and how to write Chinese characters, which is fascinating. I'm impressed with the way the professors here pour into their students and make sure each one's understanding and growing in the language while challenging us and encouraging us to grow. Sorry. being a civil engineering student, I do a lot of math problems. So being able to take a break from that and learn how to write some Chinese characters is really soothing to my brain and a nice change in my daily pace, and it adds a bit of peace to my day. So in the future, I plan on continuing my Chinese language learning as a civil engineer. I'm going to be able to travel anywhere to work, so being able to speak Chinese will be an asset to me, especially considering it's like 1/6 of the world's population from what I was previously told. Anybody else get that? So hopefully I'll be able to interact with, even people in the office who speak Chinese as their first language. So I'm excited to see what the future holds and see what avenues and doors can open up for me. And thank you very much.
I'm Ben. I graduated in May 2012 with dual major international studies, Europe and German language. What has language done for me? Yeah, so I kind of came to UAA because of language. I knew I could get what I wanted. I had the chance to be a high school exchange student for a year, actually 4 months in Germany, and then I just got back from a year after. So my university experience was kind of like 4 years on hold, but with the travel opportunities with the UAA projects I was on, or just the culture club activities and the German classes, I could kind of keep my language taste satiated. I've been fascinated with languages since I was 8 years old. I can kind of put a concrete time on it because that's when we got internet, and that's when my sister then in 1998 started downloading a crazy amount of foreign music, and to me it was just music because half the stuff when you're a kid you're just hearing sounds anyway, and so being exposed to that at an early age I think kind of triggered something for me. And when I was reading later on, I'd see a word like, that doesn't look really English, cul-de-sac, and things like that, boulevard, it's like that's spelled a little funny. And I realized these pieces of our language, they come from other places. And as an English speaker, I think we're disadvantaged in one sense that we're not really aware that there's this other world, that they have languages next door, where there's a few miles away, there's a different language spoken. But once you kind of get exposed to the literary history of America and England, you realize our language is just a compression of a bunch of them. And so going out and exploring a few of the pieces has been a lot of fun. The names on the backs of the speakers today is funny. I think I would read Zimmerman, you're a traitor, you should be learning German. Del Mundo, you should be learning Spanish. But that's the great thing about America is we can do whatever we want. The languages, they're funny sounds. Our last names are funny sounds, and so exploring those roots and realizing where we came from, even if we'll never have a chance to go there or see what our relatives saw, that's the biggest thing for me in language, is just seeing the past in our names. There we go.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Will Gaidash. All right. I'm going to leave it in this thing because my hands are shaking right now. All right. My interest for choosing to study Russian really begins with my family. I'm Ukrainian on my father's side, and I really attribute my great uncle as being one of sort of like the biggest inspirations in my life, especially for studying Russian. When I was a little kid, I would just listen to him speak with his siblings in Ukrainian and sort of just joke with them. And he would even teach me kind of curses in Ukrainian. He would teach me how to say, "Go down to the lake and get struck by lightning," or "May boils grow from your ass," or things like that. And then I would find my sister as quickly as possible. If I can get a little metaphorical with you, I kind of feel like before discovering Russian at UAA, I was kind of like this stuck little ball at the top of a hill. I didn't really have as much direction. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And then I feel like Russian was sort of the wind, or that little nudge that sent me, just down that hill, and with a lot of forward momentum for sort of the path in my life. From Russian, I joined the Russian club, and I worked with elementary schools, immersion schools in Anchorage, and then from that I was interested. I took Russian language. I took Russian literature courses, which led me to conferences, which I presented in other states in the lower 48, and then I pursued scholarships. I won the critical language scholarship twice, and I had 2 wonderful opportunities to study Russian abroad. I just got back this summer, actually. I just applied for the Fulbright, so fingers crossed on that. Otherwise, I don't really know how Russian's going to fully manifest itself. I just know that it's going to be a part of my life forever. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Teresa, and I'm studying Spanish. And the reason I'm studying Spanish is I just thought it was an interesting culture to learn about. I think it's very important to learn languages. Many years ago, I learned Japanese. I certainly don't know it fully, but I enjoyed learning Japanese. And now with Spanish, it just opens up so much for you. I generally travel to countries where they speak Spanish, and I can kind of converse a little bit better now with people in Panama or in Spain or wherever. I did a study abroad program. I'm hoping to be cool like Eric Romig one day. I don't know that that'll happen. But living in Spain was just fantastic. I can't say enough about it. Just meeting the people, learning their lifestyle, and I'm going back next year just to visit the friends that I have made there. And I highly encourage everybody, learn at least one other language. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Debbie Clark, and I'm currently in the Chinese 202 class as a non-degree seeking student. And like many of my classmates, I'm learning Chinese because I love studying the language. My interest began nearly 25 years ago with my first trip to China. It was a life-changing trip. The people we met were so friendly and helpful, and the culture was fascinating. I could see that China was going to be definitely a part of my future. So I began reading everything I could about China, but at the time it didn't occur to me that I could learn Chinese. I also like challenges, but I kept hearing that Chinese was very difficult. The challenges include its 4 tones and its written characters, and like anything else though, you learn one piece at a time, and gradually it all begins to fall into place. A little over 3 years ago, when I decided to find a way to learn Chinese, I began with classes at UAA's Confucius Institute. These classes were 1 night a week in the evening. My classmates ranged in age from 14 to 70. I began reading the Chinese characters and was very eager to learn more. It's very exciting. I then decided to transition to the second year UAA Chinese classes. With 2 classes a week and the availability of tutors, I began to increase my pace of learning. I also began writing Chinese characters. All along the way, my instructors have been so enthusiastic and encouraging. My classmates are equally supportive of one another. To appreciate the Chinese language, you also study the culture, and probably true with all languages, but I think really more so maybe with Chinese language. The culture and the language, they're intertwined. Besides language classes, there are additional ways at UAA to learn about the Chinese culture. The UA Chinese Language Department and Confucius Institute bring many expert lecturers to the campus. Every Saturday, there are also hand-on workshops that you can go to. I wish I'd studied Chinese when I was in college previously, but for me, it was only through life experience that I discovered that this was something I really wanted to do. I don't know where this road will lead, but it is certainly a journey worth taking. 谢谢. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm not experienced with using microphones, so let me try to do this. So I'm a student of French, and the importance of learning a language is kind of profound. Like there's so many reasons you should learn a language. There's a lot of languages that I'm really interested in that technically don't have maybe a tangible application. Like Icelandic, for example, I'm trying to learn, and they all speak English. And so, I mean, technically you don't have to learn it, but it's just such a beautiful language that it's just kind of a passion of mine. And so people will ask me, like, why Icelandic? I mean, it's really difficult, and you don't need to learn it. Like, what's the point? Well, learning a language, I mean, it's really good for your brain, first of all. Like, any language is just fantastic to learn for that reason. And also, when you learn another language, you sort of, you kind of almost learn to see the world through someone else's mindset, which is also extremely important to do. And whenever a language dies, you lose a part of humanity that is just gone forever. Like it's a way of viewing the world that you can't recover. So it's really important to learn languages so you can kind of understand the different ways of seeing the world. So I originally got interested in French because I'd been to France a few times and I couldn't speak at all. And I was taking German at the time, which I really love, but I decided it would make sense if maybe I kind of learned some French to actually be able to communicate when I went there. So I started taking French and ended up loving it. It's just a really gorgeous language. And it has so many places all over the world. There's so many countries in Africa that speak French, and it's kind of a big gateway to a lot of places. So, let's see. What will I do with French? That's a difficult question because I don't think you have to do something with a language. I think as long as you're learning and speaking all the time, that's absolutely wonderful. So I'm hoping to just keep going with French, learning more, just speaking languages. I don't know exactly what my future holds for French in particular, but I'm hoping to become much better. This is let's see, I'm in advanced French right now, and I'm just now starting to kind of feel like I can kind of communicate. It takes so much work to learn languages. It takes forever, but I highly recommend French to anyone, and we have a great French club, great group of people, and so I would highly recommend anyone to join that club because it's just really fun. So, yeah, I guess I just, looks like I'm out of time, sorry. Well, thank you. But yeah, languages, learn all of them.
Hi, my name's Robin Ford, and I first want to give thanks to my friend Colin, who's downstairs and is being very patient for me to come and do this. So my name's Robin, and I studied German at UAA. I received a bachelor's of German with a minor in gender studies, and the funny part about that is German was never my intention. I wasn't a serious German student in high school, and in college I didn't think I ever would be. But I met an incredible professor, Dr. Masanovic, and she inspired me to go and try to speak German by going to Germany. So I went and did a year in Heidelberg at the University of Heidelberg, came back with better German and not being so uncomfortable speaking. And I came back here and I decided to change my major from biology to German. And again, that was thanks to her and the incredible languages program here at UAA, which has clubs like people have already been talking about with the Spanish club, the German culture club, etc. And after graduating, I was also encouraged by Dr. Masanovic to apply for the Fulbright for a research scholarship, and I was granted a Fulbright research scholarship in gender studies, and that's where my minor in gender studies came into play. And so I went to Berlin, Humboldt University in Berlin, and studied for a year how grassroots communities of feminists get along and how they try and build bridges and understanding between different communities in different kind of left and more radical communities within Berlin. So I came back and decided I couldn't give up German, so I continued to take German classes with Natasha. And that doesn't mean even when you learn a language or you feel like you're fluent or doing well, doesn't mean you can't take a grammar class, because that's what I'm doing now, what fits with my schedule. And I'm changing totally back to what I was originally at UAA, and I'm a biology major right now, and I'm getting ready to apply to med school in the next couple years. And I plan to be taking my emphasis in German and using it with gender studies to sort of promote understanding between peoples and use it in a medical sense. And that's my friend Colin downstairs waiting patiently. So I appreciate your time, and please study languages because it's fun and it provides all these opportunities to go to Germany, to go to Spain, to go to wherever and learn more about cultures. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caitlin Cheeley. I'm a senior right now at UAA studying Russian language. I've studied Russian language since middle school, but my first introduction to Russian was actually in elementary school. My elementary school, Turnagain Elementary, was the first elementary school, I think, in the United States to start in a Russian immersion program. So it was a really unique opportunity for me to start learning about foreign cultures and languages, because before then, I had no idea that other people even thought about foreign languages. You know, little kids don't tend to think about that unless you expose something like that to them. So I appreciate the exposure, but my serious study of the language started in middle school when I was given the opportunity. And that pretty much defined my life after that point. It was a total accident. I never meant to study Russian, but I ended up studying it for, I think this is my 9th year, and I plan to go to grad school when I'm done here at UAA to study Russian. So accidents sometimes can be a very awesome thing. We've mentioned studying abroad a lot, and I wanted to bring up something that nobody's really touched on about studying abroad. It's not just that you study abroad to learn about a different culture and to try to change your perspective on things, but I've heard also that studying abroad increases your creativity. So if any of you out there are very creative people, you either like writing or you like drawing, study abroad and then try to observe how you perform any of your creative activities and see if you've gotten better. I personally do believe that it influenced my creativity when I was able to study in Russia, because when I was in Russia, I wrote every day, and I don't just mean my homework. I was creative writing every day, so it was really funny for me to observe how I wrote before in English and then how I wrote after. But I also wanted to touch on the Russian community in Anchorage. We have a really unique opportunity being in Alaska because we have this historical connection between Russia and America, and not a lot of people study it. So studying Russian helps us understand, in my opinion, kind of our heritage.
Hello, I'm Clarissa Zeller, and I decided to learn language for communication and cultural reasons. And I want to start with a quote. Communication is a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. By Brian Tracy. And a little background story. I grew up in a village called Red Devil, and it's only about 50 people. And there's about 10 kids, and that was including me. So I didn't really communicate a lot, and so I always have a hard time trying to communicate what I'm trying to say. So I was hoping that learning a language would help me a lot. And also, since I was sort of isolated from other cultures, I thought it would help me learn other cultures. And I'm also definitely afraid of talking to new people and being in front of crowds. So I was hoping to communicate better and not only learn Spanish, but also to learn English and improve my English, and help it open my eyes to other cultures and to improve every part of my life. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Sort of hunch over on this thing like some sort of crazy dictator. To me, the reasons for learning Chinese are totally obvious. It just wouldn't make sense not to. I'm a lawyer and a banker in town, and I look at the opportunities available arising in mainland China and Hong Kong. It blows me away, and that's why I started taking Chinese here. And I thought about taking maybe just the Chinese for Business class that they have, but after I thought about it a little more, I took advantage of the wonderful opportunity they have as a non-degree seeking student, and just started Chinese 101. I figured I really should just go for it. If I'm going to do it right. And it's been a wonderful experience. More generally speaking, on languages, I studied Spanish and history in college, and I'd like to echo everything that I've heard here today, just about the complementary nature of things like that. I wrote my senior thesis in Spanish, and or not in Spanish, but on a Mexican history, and studied original sources in Spanish, and that was all mind blowing. And now that I find myself studying Chinese, I can feel different parts of my brain opening up that were available to me when I was studying Spanish. It's a really sort of far out concept, but it's just wonderful. And again, to speak on Chinese, I'm sorry if I'm a little scattered. Thank God I only have 30 seconds left. I have a very organic process, so I don't have any notes up here, But China has just become Alaska's largest trading partner. It's receiving more of Alaska's imports than any other place in the world, and that number continues to grow every year. It's statistics like that make the reason to study Chinese obvious to me. And people I work with in banking and law, they never ask me why. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Laura Mitchell, and I'm in French 301, and I'm the vice president of the French Culture Club. I believe learning languages is important for everyone. It builds character and broadens your perspective by introducing new ways of thinking and viewing the world. As Ludwig Wittgenstein so eloquently says, "The limits of my language are the limits of my world." I believe languages ultimately help us grow as human beings. Languages also have their practical uses as well. Translators and interpreters alone are expected to be one of the fastest growing occupations in the nation, according to the Department of Labor. This includes translators and interpreters who also specialize in legal, medical, technical, or scientific knowledge. I got into French my junior year of high school by accident, actually. My advisor had just placed me in the class, and I just stayed and ended up falling completely in love with French. I love the way French sounds, and as well as how they structure their language, because you can really see how the French and any other language, how they perceive themselves, or how they express themselves to how many words they have for the same thing. I think that can really be said for all languages, though. As for what I plan to do with French, I have a few ideas, but I'm not completely sure at this point. I was thinking of tutoring French for a bit and hopefully either go on to teaching in a program for kids interested in learning it, or I was thinking of joining a non-governmental organization in a French-speaking country. Or I might move to Quebec and do something there. I'm not quite sure. For those of you who are thinking of taking a language or are taking a language, I would definitely recommend French, but I would also just recommend any language for that matter. I'm not really partial. If it were up to me, I would take more languages, but for now, I can only focus on French, and I really hope to go far with it. That's it.
That was easier than I thought it would be. So hi, I'm Tom Honer, as mentioned. I started studying German at the University of Alaska Anchorage on a whim. Actually, my freshman roommate is in the room, and he walked into my room as I was registering for classes, and I had been signed up for Spanish, so my apologies. And he said, "Why don't you study for German instead?" And so that worked out. And at first, I was intrigued by learning a new language. I had learned a little bit of Spanish in high school, and I liked the challenge again. But what really helped me stick with German wasn't necessarily the words that I was learning and the grammar. It was the amazing professors that I had, both of which are in the room now. and that really helped me want to stay with it. And Will stole my metaphor, but I made up a new one, don't worry. I was also like a ball on a hill without wind, but then instead I was like a boy in a dark room without light, and German turned on the light for me, and I was able to not only study German for my own individual purposes, but German helped me reach out into the wider community, not only at UAA, but also in the wider Anchorage community. And I am now the president of the German Culture Club, and we do activities with the Anchorage Culture Club, and we're also involved with elementary school cultural festivities, and it's been a great experience in that capacity. And I know that we've mentioned a lot of points, so good 30 seconds. But I have not yet gone on a foreign exchange, but I hope to. I've applied for a Fulbright, so we'll see how that happens. But I'm not only interested in going abroad and having that experience for my own purposes, but I am really looking forward to bringing what I've learned there, both culturally and linguistically, back to the Anchorage community, so I can give back to the community that gave so much to me in that same capacity. And perfect timing.
There we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Antonia De Lucia, and I'm a student of Russian. Russian is a difficult language, and I came to it in a very interesting way. I'm actually Italian by nationality, and I grew up in a dual language speaking household where my dad would read us stories in Italian, and my mom didn't speak it, but my sister and I and my dad did, and that was our special little thing. In high school, I finished high school in Italy, and I traveled a lot. And the first year that I started school here at the university, I thought I was going to major in nursing. And that didn't jive with me. It just wasn't fitting for my personality. So I left the university, and I ended up spending 3 years traveling abroad and winding up in all these amazing countries, such as Georgia, for instance. And that's kind of how I found Russian, because everyone there spoke Russian, and I kind of knew a little bit about it. So I decided that if I was going to come back and get a degree in anything, it was going to be in Russian. So I came back to Alaska in 2011, 2 years ago, November of 2011, and I started taking Russian here at 102, 201, 202. Now I'm in 301, and it's been quite a journey, I assure you. I think everyone has said many important aspects of studying language, that it's very difficult. Russian is definitely difficult, and it's been a lot of work, but the Russian community here and my teachers, especially Dr. Amanda Murphy, have made me feel so welcome and have really made my experience learning Russian extremely special. So I know that everyone said it before, but I would say it again. Learning a language actually gives you a one-up on pretty much anyone else in anything that you choose to do. It makes you doubly good at it, because not only can you be good at it speaking English, but you can also add another language, which is a really special thing. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessie Zumdike, and I am in my 3rd semester of Spanish with Dr. Fagan. Spanish is definitely one of the most challenging subjects that I've studied in my career as a student, but I think it's probably the most rewarding and useful. Spanish 202 is the last class I need to complete my bachelor's degree in history. Learning a second language is very important for historians because it opens up a whole new world of source material, and I think a couple of you guys have already mentioned that. You no longer need to rely on the translations of other people, and this is really important for both the scope and the integrity of your research. Since there's not a big demand for historians these days, I'm studying air traffic control at the UAA School of Aviation. Because English works so well as the official worldwide language of aviation, I think that the importance of learning a second language for American aviation professionals is highly underestimated. Individuals who work within the field of aviation are provided with many opportunities to travel and work abroad, but if you don't know another language, living in another country can be very isolating. I lived in Prague 2 years ago, and I didn't speak Czech, and most of the restaurants there have 2 sets of menus and 2 sets of prices, one in Czech and one in English, and I bet you can guess which one has higher prices. So if you want to live abroad and fully participate in a foreign culture, learning a foreign language is the first and most important step. The benefits of learning a second language are overwhelming and hard to quantify. I know the studying that I'm doing right now is going to pay off in ways that I can't even imagine. Thank you.
Frog. Sorry, I always like learning new signs. So I get up here and I'm sitting over here. I'm just watching this interpreter the entire time, just like, oh, cool, this is really cool. And to me, it's one of the greatest things of sign language, and how I got really interested in it is a lot of events you go to, especially here on campus, like the comedy shows or any show really, you see a little translator on the side. And usually there's, especially in comedians, they love it. They'll have like full-on conversations and just say the most random things, and like, oh, cool, you know, whatever. So I'm in sign language. I'm in sign language 1, and so far it's definitely my favorite class. And I pulled up on my phone top 10 reasons why you should learn sign language. 1, you can communicate through windows. No other language can do that. Sign language is a 3D language. You can sign with your mouth full. That's actually come in handy many, many times. With my friends, just like always, as soon as I take a bite, someone says something, I'm like, I can just sign it, you know, it's no big deal. Hearing parents can communicate with their deaf children. You can sign underwater. Also really cool. I'm a scuba diver. I was certified in Hawaii, and that would have been very useful 2-3 years ago. Sign language is a neat way to express yourself. You can communicate across the room or via a mirror without shouting. I already did that earlier today. Sign language is beautiful. That's easily one of the most one of the biggest recognizable things I found is just sitting there. I can see already a lot of people are watching her instead of me. You know, it's just cool to watch. It's just like someone's up here dancing, but it's actually communication. Like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, music and dancing is a way of communicating and self-expression. This literally is self-expression through movement. You can make deaf friends, and then number 10 is sign language brings together hearing and deaf people, which is really cool. I just wanted to point out that deaf culture is here in America, and I hear all these people saying, oh, I got to go to Japan or French and study abroad, and like, well, I just go down the street and I have a friend who's deaf over there, so I can immerse myself in deaf culture just by driving 10 minutes, and I think it's pretty cool. But I'm not going to be biased during languages. I have like 10 seconds left, so real quick, I'm just going to say any language is awesome. I started learning Spanish in high school. I love that, and decided to try something new in college, so I'm learning sign language, and it widens your perspective and really lets you talk to whoever you want. And I think that's one of the coolest things in the world. I think I'm out of time, so thank you. I'm Jade.
Okay, so when I was preparing for this, I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do as many signs as I can and try and sign my whole speech. But I was happy that we have an interpreter because I'm still a new student. I'm in ASL 1, so I don't know a whole lot just yet. I don't know if there are any other students here that were talking. I know everyone spoke about one language, but I'm actually taking 2 languages. I'm taking sign language and French. I started taking French back in high school. I did it for like the girly reasons. It's the romantic language. So that's why I took French back in high school. I wanted to learn it for, all those fun reasons. But as I was taking more and more classes, I started to love it more and more. I went to France with a group of people from my church, and I was the only one who spoke it. And I was like, yes, I can interpret for everybody. I know what I'm doing. This is awesome. But then I realized I didn't know so much, so I wanted to learn more and more when I got into college. And then sign language, when I was younger, just like a lot of families are doing now, I learned some baby signs, more, food, eat, things like that. And it was just kind of like, oh, that's so cool, but I'm never going to do anything with this. So I didn't actually learn it growing up. And then literally one day I woke up and I said, I want to learn more sign language. I want to be an interpreter. I want to do what she's doing right here. And so I started pursuing that career. Unfortunately, we don't have a degree here at UAA, so I'm taking as many classes as I can. And then I'm going to have to go to a different school to get my degree in sign language. But
I have learned that taking two different languages not only is beneficial in so many different fields of communicating with other people, but it also is beneficial to me because it has helped me organize myself, my life, and everything that I do, because I have to separate two different languages, well, actually three different languages, because English as well, and it has helped me to just become a better student and become a better person, just organizing everything in my life and, you know, separating one thing from another, which was very hard growing up. So I know a lot of things have already been said by the other students, so I'm just gonna say learn as many languages as you can, because there's so many different people out in the world, and the more languages that you know, the more you can communicate with different people, and the more friends you can make, the more connections you can make. So thank you for everyone for coming.
Thank you very much. This was inspirational, wasn't it? We would like to appreciate one more time. Thank you for sharing your stories, and we can just tell all stories are different, but I think they lead to the same goal. We want to communicate with the larger world, I guess, and this is what we are doing in the Department of Languages, thanks to you guys. Now, I would like to take a moment and thank our interpreters, Natalie Page. Thank you. And we also have Shelley Harrison. Thank you very much. So now I know there are some people in the room who would like to maybe contribute. Is there anybody who would like to add comments, please? And so this is your opportunity, the 2 minutes, please come up front to just express yourselves. And I know there was another gentleman over here, so please.
Well, I'd actually kind of like to add myself to the roster of speakers Zeng Laosher asked me to speak. My name is Paul Kendall, and I'm a student here in the College of Business and Public Policy. I'm a sophomore this year. And I've been learning Chinese for about 9 years. And I have to say that it completely changed my life. It allowed me opportunities that I never would have otherwise had. It allowed me to experience new ideas and concepts that I never would have experienced before. I spent about 4 years studying at the Beijing University of Technology, studying Chinese language and culture, and I taught English the whole time I was there at other institutions. And I just wanted to learn, so I just went there by myself and signed up. But it was an amazing experience. Because I was learning Chinese and I was making the effort to speak, I made so many friends in all walks of life, from teachers and professors to truck drivers and shopkeepers, government officials to farmers, and many, many, many successful entrepreneurs. And a lot of these people are still my good friends today. But more important to me than business networking and making friends is actually how much I learned about myself. I mean, a lot of people talked about that today. But when you can experience the different rhythm of how another culture communicates and how they think, the thought process about how they communicate with each other, it really allows you to come outside of yourself and get a perspective you never would have had a chance to have. And I learned so much about myself, about my culture, about English. I mean, I learned English is a really hard language to learn for other people, and we really should give them credit for doing that. And as well as I learned a lot about the cultural biases that Americans have that I never would have saw, and it's really shocking. So I feel that I became a much more open and receptive person. And I would also have to say that the fastest way to earn the respects of your colleagues and peers and classmates who are from another culture is to learn their language. And you don't even have to speak it well. Nobody cares. And it's a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Devin Mack, and I'm learning ASL. The one cool thing about ASL is that most of Spanish, Russia, every audible language you have to listen to. ASL, you just need a visual. I'm a visual learner, so ASL is a lot of fun for me. And like Jillian said, I wanted to try to sign while I speak, but yeah, it's way too hard because I'm really nervous and my hands are shaky. And ASL, I had no clue what I was doing because I just wanted to take a second language because I thought I had to do that for a credit. So when I first came here, I'm only in like a month and a half, maybe 2 months into ASL, and I've picked up a lot of ASL from Jade and Jillian hanging out together at Def Coffee and Def Pizza, and it's just a lot of fun. I had no intention of learning a second language, but once ASL got introduced to me, I have picked it up so fast, and I wanted to learn more of it, and I'm going to take it into a next semester. So, thanks.
Hi, everyone. I had no intention of speaking today, but you all inspired me. My name is Brandon Locke, and I'm the Director of World Language Programs for the Anchorage School District. I'm also a former middle school and high school French teacher. And I just wanted to put in a plug because I had heard many of the students in here who are obviously advocates for language study and language learning, but I just wanted to put in a plug for the programs that we have in the Anchorage School District because the people in this room are our biggest advocates. And I also want to introduce my colleague back there, Laurel Dirksen, who is our curriculum resource specialist. We have immersion programs in Spanish and in Russian. We have the first Russian immersion program in the United States. We have a German charter school, which is a K-8 school. And we also have a Japanese immersion program, which was one of the very first in the country. There's now about 20. And I'd also like to put in a plug for our Chinese program. We have a Chinese program at Scenic Park Elementary, continues into Baggage Middle School and Bartlett High School. It's the only Chinese program in the state of Alaska at the K-12 level. So all of you, again, your stories have inspired me. I love the work that I do, and I would like to encourage you to continue your own language study, but also to come into our schools and share your passion with our students and also with your neighbors and school board members and all the policymakers out there that feel that language study is not necessarily worthwhile or worth taxpayers' money. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
I'm Laurel Dirksen, and I work with Brandon. And I just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents, too, with all of your wonderful stories. But probably the most impactful, I actually have been a Spanish teacher at East and Service and worked with, I've been working with immersion since '92. But the most impactful thing that happened to me was in 1969, I went to a study abroad program. And it was in Thailand, in Bangkok and Chiang Mai. And so I ended up not only meeting US GIs and the Thais and studying Thai. And so that was the first time how that really affected me as far as a worldview, somebody else's worldview, and how what we were doing in Vietnam affected the Thai people. So anyway, that impacted me. I ended up becoming a Spanish teacher, but I've always had ties to the Far East. And when my son got old enough now, he went to UAA, and I told him, you know, you have to go on a study abroad program, and you have to go to a non-Western country. So he went off to Morocco and came back with a young girl who became my daughter-in-law. And I have only one sister, and she did the same thing with her kids, and her son went to Cambodia, and they had his children there. And so here we have this Thanksgiving event where 2 little children are singing Khmer songs from Cambodia, and then my daughter comes and does her Moroccan belly dancing, and my mother is really old-fashioned and is totally shocked. So I mean, it's a very multicultural family, and I just have I really appreciated listening to all your stories and how our experiences in the world impact everybody's and our children's, and it makes for a much better unified world. So thanks.
Hi, I'm Tosca Yeager. Hi, Annette. This is my first semester of German, and I've always wanted to take German. Obviously, Jaeger, And then when I got into high school and they're like, Jägermeister, I was like, yes. So I've always wanted to take German. Then I went to mortuary fair school, and I found out that they have like this whole setup of mortuary in Germany. And I was like, two favorite things, I'm just gonna go for it. I wanna be a mortician. UAA doesn't offer mortuary sciences, so doing anthropology and German, and I'm gonna go to Germany. And I didn't even know that they had German like exchanges or these clubs, and so, you know, I left work to come here, and I'm so glad that I did. I was like, I gotta go, boss. And I didn't even know you guys had a program. It's so cool, and I'm really nervous, and I'm done.
Hi, I'm Summer Capay. I'm the admin assistant for the Office of International and Intercultural Affairs, and I just wanted to very briefly plug our office because we're who you go through if you're a UAA student and you want to study abroad or do an exchange, and we are located in Rasmussen Hall 115, and I'm going to put out a couple of flyers just around here if you want to look for that, and that's all.
Hi there. My name is Gerhard Sells. I'm a international studies and languages student with a focus on German. And I wasn't exactly intending to speak like a lot of people, but I guess Devin sort of coaxed me into it. And I just wanted to say a few things. For me, language is extremely important. I was brought up learning a second language, although I didn't learn it as fluently as English, but it certainly was a big part of my life for a long time. Also, I want to emphasize the importance of learning the languages because just like it was already steamrollered quite a few times today, the fact that it brings people together and that it allows us to communicate very well with one another. Like today, as a matter of fact, or in things like game nights that we frequently have or movie nights, because what it's inspiring to me is to see a whole bunch of people getting together and then starting to, hey, so what kind of language are you learning? What is your language? And oh yeah, I know a few words and things like that from that language. And it really, I've been to a lot of events that where you have very diverse people coming together and learning, and that's very inspiring. And especially, I live in the residence halls over there. With actually, I see quite a few familiar faces from there, and so it's really nice to actually meet them by the front desk or meet them at events and things like that, and it builds your own little community, I would say. So, yeah, those are my words. Thank you.
I think I'm short enough to actually use this. Hi, I'm Christy Erickson, and I am a librarian here at UAA. I'm also the library liaison to the languages department. So what I get to do is I get to buy materials for all the languages that UAA offers, which is a great job. I agree with everything all of you guys have said today. This has been so great to listen to you all. I've studied German, Spanish, a little bit of French and a little bit of Japanese. I'm currently studying Norwegian. So, you know, I love languages. It's great. So it's great. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So when I did start working at the library, it was great to be able to move into this position where I could actually use a lot of that knowledge. So I just wanted to let you know, I'll leave my business cards here also. Please feel free to contact me at any time if there are materials that you would like to see the library purchase in languages, and I'll see what I can do for you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Maceda. I know some of you. I'm a Spanish professor here at UAA. And I just wanted to let you know, this is for film goers, if you really like films. And I was discussing with Patricia Fagan the other day that for me, one very important movie in my life was Star Wars, I guess for some of you too. So I remember this scene in which, and this is very vivid in my memory, Far away in the galaxy, you have C3PO, that's how you say in English, R2D2, and Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker are at the verge of being eaten by the sweet Ewoks, right? But then 3PO intervenes and starts translating, and that's what saves them, actually. You have another scene, that's in the Return of the Jedi, but if you go to the first one, Jabba the Hutt eats everything, he goes on his way. But careful, he hires 3PO because he knows more than 1,000 languages. And this is not far in the galaxy, this is now. So if you don't want to be eaten wherever you go, the message is you need to know languages. The more you know, the safer you are in the far galaxy.
I can't top this, but excuse me, I thought I should share an experience I had 2 weeks ago. I just returned from Germany, where I grew up, and where with a conference I attended in the city of Halle, in connection with Georg Wilhelm Steller, the first Western naturalist who set foot on Alaskan soil. We went on a trip to Torgau on the Elbe River. And those of you who have studied history will know that that is the city where, at the end of World War II, Russian and American forces met. And there's a little museum there documenting that meeting. And there was some talk about that historic event, and at the party later that evening, one of the Russian participants in the conference, which is actually called a German-Russian meetings, toasted the fact that we had some grim reminders of a grim time and how good it was that we were there together. And as the only American at that meeting, I was keenly aware, of course, at the site of Torgau, that back in those days, I wasn't an American. As a matter of fact, I couldn't have dreamt of spending the better part of my life in America. But I was a 10-year-old German and deathly afraid of the advancing Red Army. And there were some very grim reminders of what had happened back there at Torgau in April of 1945. And it made me profoundly grateful that here in 2013, I was in a group of Germans and Russians, an American, and we were friends. And there wasn't the hostility, and hopefully there will never be another conflagration like that war. And I think that's what language study can help us do from now on, that other people who are now enemies may become friends, and that we see the world as friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? We have a little bit more time. Are there any questions that you would like to hear answers for in this room? Yes?
When I was in high school, some time ago, I remember one of my language teachers telling us that when you learn another language, you can say anything in that language and you aren't responsible for. So if you're in an argument with someone, you could say something in another language, or it's just another way of expressing oneself. And I never forgot that, and I've used it. So. And I want to, again, thank everyone for being here. Well, I think this all makes UAA a greater university also, and that in all these different disciplines, I mean, the sciences and the humanities, social sciences, how language is a part of that. So I think that's something wonderful that people brought today. So I just want to say that.
Thank you, Rachel. And we would like to thank you for letting us do this, actually. And you are a wonderful organizer for anything that you do in this bookstore. Can we have a hand for Rachel? Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Any questions for the floor? Anybody can ask any question, and you can have the answer from any person in this room. Patty. Ah. Thank you. Yes, waiting for questions. Any question? Oh, you can be courageous, please. I think the answer is yes, of course. The clubs do activities. They are conversational tables for the community. And so your daughters would be part of the community. And yes, they are welcome. Anybody else? Well, please. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, thank you for this suggestion. We try to bring languages together, like you mentioned, the game night. Yes, we do. What I would like to for you to do is to talk to the officers of the French club first, who would get in touch with the officers of the other clubs, and who would get in touch with us, the advisors and faculty, and then we'll make this happen. Okay? Thank you. Anybody else?
Are there any languages that may be coming to UAA? I noticed Norwegian, like a Nordic
Mm-hmm.
sign. I don't know if that's on the radar at all.
That's a very tough question at this time of budgetary restrictions, Rachel. So I don't think anytime soon there will be any new language. We will see. I cannot say much because the university is going through some restructuring, and we'll see what the outcomes are going to be. But thank you for asking.
On sort of a similar note, what about expanding the Chinese program? I think there's only maybe 4 or 5 classes for them.
Yes, there is, but it's an issue of curriculum as well, the way it's going to be supported. In the Department of Languages, we have 5 majors, and we have 2 languages who do not have a minor yet. So Chinese and ASL offer classes, but Chinese is the language that we are trying to develop to turn it into a minor, at least first. So these are very legitimate questions, but they have very difficult answers, and I do not have the answers for you because it's partly the work that we do with our administrators, and it's not possible to tell you what the future is going to be. But you can tell that we are supporters of all languages that we teach, and we do our best. Despite restrictions that we face. I think this is a very political answer, but I don't really have a better answer to give you. That's all I know, really. Thank you, Annie. Anybody else who would like, maybe we can take 2 last questions, 2 more questions, if there is any. Ben? Personally? Okay, I have my 2-minute limit. So I think it was evident for me that I was going to go into languages growing up with several languages in my home country. I'm from Turkey originally, and I was exposed to different cultures early on in my life, and I learned German when I was very little, and then I always was in love with that language, and I could not see anything else for myself to do because it was just connecting me to people, to other cultures, to the outer world, and not really out there in the universe, Rebecca, but really, in the world, I was able to make connections, and that's what I love, and I love to share this with my students. But just like my colleagues, everybody who is working in the Department of Languages loves what they are doing. And so I guess they all started because of that. They all started learning languages because they saw that connection, and maybe the getting to know of a person in the real sense, leaving aside, the superficiality. I think this is what a language does. It allows you to connect with each other in the real sense. And maybe that should be my final note for you. Just inspire others to do this, to continue to do this. And we have different interests, and I hear students say all the time, "Oh, I love 50 different things I don't know what to concentrate on, just pick one that is close to your heart. And I always do this with my students. I just say, you know, your heart, it is very important. So just pick it and put it into your heart and then connect it with a language. And you can do this at UAA just by minoring in a language. If you don't have the time, don't do the majoring, but get a taste for that. And I guarantee you, once you start with minoring, you're not going to stop. You're going to want to go the entire way. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for your support. And please do not hesitate to send me an email and my colleagues regarding languages, regarding your studies, regarding mentoring, regarding scholarships. We are here to work with you, and we really appreciate you. Thank you.